Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty unexpected source, a manual originally written for intelligence operatives. But here's the twist. Its biggest secret has nothing to do with influencing other people. It's all about how we can finally master ourselves.
All right, let's just kick things off with this single sentence from the manual, because it's everything. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. This is the whole foundation. It's saying that our smallest, most insignificant habits, they're actually a blueprint for our entire life.
And that's the core secret we're unlocking. Yeah, these techniques were designed for high-stakes operations, but their most powerful use? It's not external, it's internal. We're going to take this framework and use it to gain real, conscious control over our own lives.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty, the brain's operating system. The manual talks about finding the admin password to your own mind. I mean, think about that. It's like getting the master key that unlocks all your own programming, so you can finally see why you do the things you do.
You know, so much of our life is just run on autopilot. The manual has a perfect name for this: behavioral scripts. These are basically unconscious programs that are always running in the background of our mental OS. It could be something as basic as an infant reflex or as complex as that deep-seated fear of public speaking. They just run.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. These scripts aren't some mysterious, uncontrollable force. They actually follow a clear set of rules. And if you know the rules, you can work with them. For example, if you just interrupt a script, any script, you instantly create focus. And my favorite one, if you openly talk about a script, like a fear you have, its power over you gets weaker. It's like dragging it out into the sunlight.
And that is the really good news here. We are not just stuck with our programming. We're not victims of these old scripts. The manual actually lays out a path for how to confront them and, more importantly, how to consciously rewrite them. It's about switching from autopilot to being the one in the cockpit.
And this right here, this is step one. It's all about shifting your most fundamental beliefs. It's the difference between saying, see, I failed again, I knew I would, versus thinking, okay, that didn't work. That failure is just a piece of data I can use to learn. You're moving from a world where ability is just something you either have or you don't, to a world where it's something you can build.
So this leads to a pretty tough question you have to ask yourself. Which of these scripts, which of these limiting beliefs are running your life right now without your permission? Just by identifying them, by dragging those unconscious beliefs into the light, you can start to challenge them and take back their power.
Okay, so you start rewriting those old beliefs. What's next? Well, now you start building what the manual calls personal authority. And this isn't about having authority over other people. This is the absolute bedrock of self-control. Now get this, the manual makes a pretty startling claim. It says influence, and by that we mean self-influence too, is 80% about who you are, your internal state, your composure. Only 15% is what you do, and the other person is barely 5% of the equation. That means the real work, the heavy lifting, is always internal.
So if it's all about that 80%, how in the world do you build it? The manual offers this fantastic metaphor. It says you have to learn to play two very different roles for yourself. You need to be both the butler and the disciplinarian.
Here's how this little mental game works. Your current self, that's you right now, acts as the butler. Your only job is to take care of your future self. You make good decisions today as a gift to that future you. And then, when you become that future self, you get to look back with gratitude and thank your past self. It creates this amazing positive feedback loop, framing discipline not as punishment, but as an act of kindness.
And look, we're not talking about some huge life-altering changes overnight. It starts with these small, totally doable habits: getting to bed on time, eating a little cleaner, journaling for 5 minutes. Each one of these is a tiny act of concern for the person you're going to be tomorrow. It's not about willpower, it's about caring for your future self.
And all of this leads us to what is, I think, the most profound insight from this entire manual. Mastering your inner world doesn't just make you feel better, it fundamentally changes the world you actually experience.
Just let that sink in for a second. This is a direct quote. It's not saying confident people see the same world differently. It's saying they literally live in a different world. Your internal state, your confidence, your composure, it literally alters your perception of reality.
I mean, look at this comparison. It's the same external circumstances, but two completely different worlds, where one person, without that inner authority, sees a wall of difficulty and stress. Another person with a well-managed inner self looks at the exact same thing and sees an adventure, an opportunity, a door that's wide open.
So it all comes down to this one question. The ultimate power here isn't about being able to influence anyone else. It's about grabbing the authority to be the one and only author of your own character. Now that you have a peek behind the curtain, now that you know how the scripts are written, who are you going to decide to be?